Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you have a wonderful week. Like always, today I am continuing with my Grace Jones discography journey, and we've made it to her 8th studio album from 1986 called Inside Story. Now, we are nearing the end of my Grace Jones discography journey. There are only 3 albums left. And not only am I doing Inside Story today for you guys, but tomorrow I will be uploading another Grace Jones video for Bulletproof Heart, her next album from 1989. And in 2 weeks from today, I will be ending this Grace Jones discography journey with her most recent album from 2008 called Hurricane. And just like any other discography journey that I've done on my channel, I am not ready for this discography journey to end. I've really enjoyed Grace Jones's albums up until now, but we're not ending it just yet. We still have a couple more albums to listen to, and I am looking at the track list for Inside Story, and there are 10 tracks. I don't recall hearing any of these songs before, but like always, if I start listening to a song that sounds familiar, I'll let you guys know. But anyway, enough talking. Let's get into the album with track number 1, I'm Not Perfect, but I'm Perfect for You. Okay, that was track number 1, I'm Not Perfect, but I'm Perfect for You, and this is definitely much different than her prior few albums. It's very pop sounding, it's very 80s, obviously. When I say it's very 80s, I'm saying it has the 80s synths, and it's very commercial sounding as well. It's very poppy, commercial with the synths, and I liked it. I didn't really know what to make of it when I first started listening to it, the first minute or so, but then it definitely grew on me, and by the end, you know what? I was feeling it. Now, it does say here that the song was met with commercial success, becoming one of Grace's biggest hits. It was also her highest charting single on the Billboard Hot 100. Even though the song is more pop sounding, in my opinion, it still captures the essence of who Grace Jones is. And it still captures her personality, and it still sounds like a Grace Jones song. Had we met at a different time, we'd be perfect for each other. Now we're spending all our time in this world apart. My heart is aching from all the love we're given. And then she goes on to say, I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you. Now I'm right on time. I feel right on time. The song is pretty self-explanatory. She's saying if we met at a different time, we'd be perfect for each other. But instead, we are engaging with each other now at a time when I'm not the most perfect thing in the world. I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you. So even though I'm not the most perfect thing in the world right now, I'm not the most perfect girl, I'm perfect for you, and that's enough. At least, that's what I got out of the song, and you know what? I enjoyed it. So now we're gonna move on to track number 2, Hollywood Liar. Distributor of this, editor of that, top fact. How you gonna top Ooh. Okay, that was track number 2, A Hollywood Liar, and this is another song I enjoyed. However, I don't know how I feel about this new sounding Grace Jones. This more dance 80s synths. I like it. It's fun. The production's a lot of fun, but I'm missing the old Grace Jones, like Warm Leatherette, Night Clubbing, and Slave to the Rhythm. I'm kind of missing that Grace Jones. So even though I can appreciate this new turn for Grace Jones, it's more commercial sounding, it's more poppy. I miss the old Grace Jones. I can appreciate that she's changing things up and she's not putting herself in a box and she's experimenting. But how much of the experimentation is due to her actually wanting to try something new and her, or perhaps her record label, wanting her to be more commercial and more popular, so they decided to put out a more radio friendly album? I don't know. It does say here that the release of Inside Story was surrounded by Manhattan Records' most extensive marketing and merchandising campaign ever. The promotional strategy would include magazine and newspaper advertisements, street posters, radio spots, and more, with the record company targeting the US market, where Grace had never been a mainstream pop star. Hollywood Liar, who are you to crash my party with your mediocre blow? Your powder has no power over me. Don't talk to my friends. The way you talk to the girls from the valley, you're just another liar to me. Hollywood Liar. I can see right through your act. Dropping all those names the way you think the game should be played. So the song is pretty self-explanatory. She's calling out all these Hollywood liars, these, I don't know, people, these producers, bigwigs, fellow musicians, friends, whomever, people living in Hollywood who are feeding her lies and deals that don't even exist, and she sees through the bullshit. This is the Grace Jones I love. She tells it as it is, no bullshit, she's sassy as fuck, and I love her when she's bringing out this side of her, this personality. And then she ends the song by saying, I don't buy it, baby, just get out of my party. And I also like how she's also incorporating French into the song as well. Another favorite aspect of mine when it comes to Grace Jones is when she pulls out the French. I love it when she pulls out the French, and I also love it when she brings out her sassier, bitchier side. But anyway, let's move on to track number 3, Chain Hitchhikes to Shanghai. Okay, that was track number 3, Chad Hitchhikes to Shanghai, and try saying that 10 times. Chad Hitchhikes to Shanghai, Chad Hitchhikes to Shanghai, Chad Hitchhikes to Shanghai, Chad Hitchhikes to... I can't do it, I can't! That was such a fun and funky dance track. It was catchy as hell, and I liked it. I liked the chorus, and this is probably one of my favorite tracks so far on the album. I don't know who this Chad is. I don't know why he hitchhiked to Shanghai. He took a trip to see his mother. Chad, what you doing, mad? Say, Chad, I wrote this song about you, mad. Miss his cooking, sense of humor, miss his timing, his discipline. We all miss Chad. Now there's an empty space, a void. Going to give, to leave his job. He's the only man I wrote this song. Can I also say that I enjoyed the incorporation of the gong as well? You don't hear gongs too much in songs. But anyway, let's move on to track number 4. Victor should have been a jazz musician. I like that part. Okay, that was track number 4. Victor should have been a jazz musician, and I love. I love this song so much. Everything about it. I loved her vocals on this track. They were so whispery and so seductive, and I just loved her vocals on this track. And obviously, the production with the saxophone. I love the story of the song as well. Grace went to a concert to see Nina Simone. The concert was over, there was still a band played. The bongo man played his beat with his hands. I closed my eyes and looked at him. Victor should have been a jazz musician, I said to myself. I looked at his face and I saw Victor, looked at his smile and I saw Victor. Victor seems happy, but he doesn't even know himself. He's gotta look inside to know his first life. Victor was a jazz musician. Victor plays his music, he loves his music somewhere. Somewhere. So I don't know. I'm a little confused with the story because I don't know if this particular jazz musician is supposed to be Victor, or when Grace is at this concert and listens to and sees this jazz musician, she's reminded of a man named Victor who she once knew, who should have been a jazz musician. He had the talent and he was really good at it, but perhaps he never became successful as a jazz musician. Maybe it was more so just a hobby of his. She looks at this jazz musician's face and she sees Victor. She looks at this guy's smile and she sees Victor. And she looks at his hair and she sees Victor. So Victor should have been a jazz musician, and this particular jazz musician reminds her of a man named Victor. That's my interpretation of the song. I could be wrong. But regardless, this is definitely one of my favorite tracks on the album. I loved the melody and her voice and the production. I just loved everything about this track. It was also a little unexpected. I wasn't expecting a jazz song on this album. I was just expecting dance and pop and funk and the 80s, since I wasn't expecting a jazz song, so that was a nice surprise. But anyway, let's move on to track number 5, Party Girl. Okay, that was track number 5, Party Girl, and this was a really fun song to listen to. I really liked the chorus. Party Girl. It really is a catchy song. It does get stuck in your head. Sometimes he has to do what he hates to do, having fun with it, though it's hurted you. She loves to do what he hates to do. Party Girl. This song is about a girl who likes to party, she likes to go out, and she's spending more time out than she is in with her boyfriend, perhaps, and her boyfriend isn't really a party guy. He doesn't really like to go out, and he's not really a bar guy or a club guy, but she is, and she's a party girl. I imagine that Grace Jones herself is a big party girl. She likes to go out all the time to the bars, the clubs, to dance and have a good time. I also loved how she incorporated her personality into the song as well, which she has done many times before in so many of her other songs. Come on, are you coming? Come on. If you're gonna come on. So it looks like she's trying to convince this person to come out with her, perhaps her boyfriend or a friend. I'm not waiting for you any longer. From his point of view, she should leave. So this guy obviously doesn't want to go to the club with her, and she's sick of waiting, and she's just gonna go herself. I mean, I feel like we've all been there. We try to convince a friend or someone we're dating to come out to the bar with us, and they just don't want to go. And you're angry, you're frustrated because you want to go out, but they don't want to go out, and you want to go out with them, but they don't want to go out. So you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go myself then because I really want to go out. I would honestly love to hear a remix of this song. But anyway, let's move on to track number 6, Crush. Okay, that was track number 6, Crush, and this was another fun song. I didn't enjoy it as much as track number 5, Party Girl, or a lot of the other tracks I've listened to so far. So it's not one of my favorite tracks on the album, but I still enjoy the production. Come to my place, take off my shirt, stay a while. No one else can make you smile like a crush. I get a rush, you make me blush. You can get away with murder. We say we are lovers, we love undercover. I got a crush, you give me a rush. So this song is pretty self-explanatory. She has a big hard-on for this person. It's a crush, and they make her blush, and she enjoys being intimate with them, because we can get away with murder. Push me a little bit further. This is a very cute song, in my opinion. It's very flirtatious, and I enjoyed it. So let's move on to track number 7, Barefoot in Beverly Hills. Ooh. Okay, that was track number 7, Barefoot in Beverly Hills, and this was a very interesting track. I did enjoy the chorus of this song. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's very summery and warm, and It's just very light and frivolous, and it makes you feel good. I definitely don't think it's one of the most memorable songs on the album. It's not one of my favorites, but I still enjoyed listening to it. This has been a very consistent album, in my opinion. I've enjoyed all the songs. There isn't a single song on this album that I completely dislike. There are obviously songs I enjoy more than others, but in general, I've enjoyed all the songs so far. Essentially, during the entire song, she's saying how she's still walking barefoot in Beverly Hills and she has an immunity to the heat. For years, I've walked backbeat. All the years I have gone to my feet, I've walked in the tall grass, an immunity to heat. So I don't know how I feel about the story in the song. She's walking barefoot in Beverly Hills. I really don't care. But anyway, let's move on to track number 8, Scary But Fun. Okay, that was track number 8, Scary But Fun, and I don't know how I feel about this song. Of course, I enjoy the production, but there was something about the melody and I don't know, there's just something about this song that just didn't really grab me, and I did find it a little boring. I do like the story and the message of the song. She's saying how life can be scary, but also can be quite fun, and you need to take more chances in life. Typically, when you're young, you take more chances. And she says, did you forget what it's like to be young? To just go out there and experiment and, do a few crazy things. You might break a couple bones, you might get a few bruises, you might fall down, but that's okay. That's part of life. It can be scary, but it could also be fun. It reminds me of when I was a kid, how I was scared to ride a bike for the first time, a two-wheel bike, because I was concerned that I would just fall off and scrape myself, which I think I probably did a few times, obviously. But I ended up loving it, and I was obsessed with riding my bike all the time. So, you might see something and you say, oh, that's fun, it looks fun, but I can't do that because I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna scrape myself. But that's boring, that's part of life. Life is scary, there are scary obstacles, but those scary obstacles, once you overcome them, can be a lot of fun. I'm actually thinking of the time that I tried skiing for the first time when I was a kid, and it was a total disaster, and I feel like I was traumatized since. I get scared of the thought of skiing because when I first tried it, I would just slide down the hill. I didn't know how to work the poles or whatever. I didn't know how to turn or anything. I was screaming. There was one moment where I was just sliding down the hill on my skis, down this huge ass hill, and I was just screaming. I couldn't stop. And I just rammed into this girl who was right in front of me, and I went flying, and my skis went flying, and she went flying, and I got bruises, and it hurt like hell. My ass hurt, my legs hurt, and from then on, I have always been scared of skiing again, but it's one of those things where you just need to confront your fears, do it again, because once you try it again a few more times, you might end up loving it. But anyway, let's move on to track number 9, White Collar Crime. Okay, that was track number 9, White Collar Crime, and I enjoyed the story of the song. I liked what she was singing about. It was very interesting. White collar crime, you had the time. Blue collar crime, you'll do time every time. Stealing from the company, taking all the profits, sharing with your family, drinking all the benefits. You could get away with it. Will they get away with it? Do they get away with it? Yes, they get away with it. I do feel like Grace might be singing about people who embezzle, perhaps. People who are essentially stealing money from their employers, they're stealing profits for themselves, and these particular people are white collar workers. So, businessmen and politicians, perhaps, white collar people, white collar crimes. But when it comes to blue collar crimes and blue collar workers, if they were to do the exact same thing, they don't receive the same treatment. White collar crime, you do the time. Blue collar crime, you do time every time. It's all the same money power game. All the same, it's a money power game. So the main essence of the song, I believe, is how there are many people who steal from their employers and their companies, whether they be white collar workers or blue collar workers, but at the end of the day, they're not treated the same way if they're caught. Blue collar workers and white collar workers, I don't know. So that's my interpretation of the song. And even though I think the message is very important, what she's singing about, the song still didn't really grab me. I probably wouldn't really listen to it again. And it is probably one of my least favorite tracks on the album so far. But anyway, let's move on to the final track of the album, track number 10, Inside Story.
No one really knew him like I did. He taught me everything that I know. Behind the scenes, my daddy was a preacher. And every night at church we had to go. The saints are complaining, forbidden to play the organ. Sometimes I wonder. Inside story, inside story, inside story. How great thou art, how great thou art. Oh Lord, my God. Inside
Okay, that was track number 10, Inside Story, and Grace was taking me to church with this song. I really liked the gospel choir. I always love hearing a gospel choir in a song. I found the song quite interesting. I do like the lyrics. In the beginning, she's saying how no one really knew him like I did. He taught me everything that I know. No one really knew him like I did. Why he stopped playing the piano. Behind the scenes, my daddy was a preacher, and every night at church, we had to go. Brother always played on the organ while my mother sang her solo. And then she goes on to say, "Oh Lord my God, sometimes I wonder, consider what you may, inside story, lost his glory." Inside Story. I don't really know who she's singing about in particular in this track. Obviously, she's bringing up God. Oh Lord my God, sometimes I wonder. His art, your art, my art, he made me. But I also feel like she's singing about an actual person in this song as well. No one really knew him like I did. Him isn't capitalized, so she is singing about an actual person. He taught me everything that I know. Maybe she's just singing about her dad. Behind the scenes, my daddy was a preacher. Huh. His art, inside story. Your art, inside. My art, inside story. He made me. His art, your art, my art. This person is also forbidden to play the organ and to never play the piano. The saints are complaining. I don't know why he's forbidden to play the organ and the piano. Brother always played on the organ. Forbidden to play the organ. So, her brother, her dad. There's this person who can't play the organ, but her brother plays the organ. Her dad's a preacher. This was an interesting way to wrap up the album, and as a whole, I did enjoy the song. So that was all 10 tracks of Inside Story by Grace Jones, and this was a nice little surprise. Definitely much different than her last few albums. Obviously, it's more dance, pop, 80s synths, and it's a funky album, and it's a fun album. It's a very light album. It's a little frivolous. It's very commercial and mainstream sounding compared to a lot of her other albums. Even though this album is more pop and commercial sounding, it still captures the essence and personality of who Grace Jones is. I also enjoyed how she incorporated different sounds into the album. So it wasn't just pop and dance, it was also there was jazz and gospel, there was a little bit of reggae, it was a little funky as well. So I liked the different sounds I heard on this album. So to me, this still sounds like a Grace Jones album. Though I will say, this probably isn't one of my favorite Grace Jones albums. Though I did enjoy listening to it, I probably wouldn't go back to it all the time. Some of my favorite tracks are probably... I really liked Party Girl. I also liked I'm Not Perfect, but I'm Perfect for You. I liked Chad Hitchhikes to Shanghai. And Victor Should Have Been a Jazz Musician. Now, I don't know if I'm overreacting when it comes to my love for that song, but honestly... Track number 4, Victor Should Have Been a Jazz Musician, is probably my favorite track on the album. I do prefer the first half of this album compared to the second half, and when it comes to the lyrics, I did enjoy reading the stories on the album, but I don't find the lyrics on this album to be as intriguing as some of her other albums. There's definitely something very youthful about this album. It's light and colorful and fun. There were times where this album was reminding me of her first couple albums like Portfolio and Fame. In Grace Jones's 2015 book, I'll Never Write My Memoirs, she said, "When I listened to Inside Story, I could hear the energy of what was going on the moment it was made. It's where I was at the time, but I think it is beautiful. There were other ways of doing that material, but I like how it ended up. I don't listen to all my records, but I play that one a lot." It definitely is a fun and interesting album to listen to from Grace Jones. Even though it's not one of my favorite Grace Jones albums, I can still appreciate what they did with the album. So I think that's all I wanted to say on Inside Story. What did you guys think of it, and what are your impressions? And when it comes to Grace Jones's discography, where would this album fall? Would it fall near the top, the bottom, near the middle? Maybe this is one of your favorite Grace Jones albums. And what was it like to be a Grace Jones fan in the 80s when she released an album like Inside Story, which is quite different from her prior albums? Did Grace Jones fans embrace this album? Did they hate it? Did they shun it? Maybe they really enjoyed it. Let me know. What I also like about this album is that all the songs are original Grace Jones songs, I believe. It does say that all the songs were written by Grace Jones and Bruce Woolley, so that's nice. A lot of her albums have covers, which I don't mind, but it's nice to listen to a Grace Jones album where all the songs are original Grace Jones songs. So in my next Grace Jones video, we'll be moving on to her 9th studio album from 1989 called Bulletproof Heart, which I will be uploading tomorrow. So thanks for watching, guys. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can message me, you can say, hey, how are you? So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.